everyone, and welcome to today's Chrissy B show. Now, are you concerned that you or a loved one are very forgetful or seem to get lost in familiar places? Do you get confused with names? We all forget a name or face once in a while, and this is nothing to worry about, but if you notice this on a more frequent basis, the issue could be dementia. Talking to us about the realities of this disease is Dr. Audrey Tang. We also have world-renowned dementia expert Dr. June Andrews discussing research on dementia, and nutritionist Severine Menem tells us about which foods keep our brains healthy. Helena Chard gives us a weekly dose of positive good news, and Missy Mcanulty performs her song Power of the Mind, which was produced in collaboration with Young Minds to raise awareness of mental health in young people. We later show you how we got on when we visited Whitehorse Farm for a special duo's Princess Day out, and at the end of the show I give you my tips on how to care for someone with dementia. According to Alzheimer's UK, dementia is the blanket term for the several progressive diseases that deteriorate the brain's functioning. A survey made by the Society states that in 2015, 850,000 people living with dementia in the UK cost us a subsequent £26 billion a year. 40,000 people will experience some form of early onset dementia, and with the number of people suffering from dementia expected to rise up to 1 million people by 2025 and 2 million by 2050, more needs to be understood about this troubling set of diseases. So what do you on Twitter think? Sally Knocker's Realistic saying, care homes are where most of us with dementia will die. How can we ensure a good death? Essex Dementia Care quotes the late Terry Pratchett, who died of Alzheimer's, saying 700,000 people who have dementia in this country are not heard. Julie's remaining optimistic, saying, I'm excited that I now have breath and mindfulness exercise to help calm mum with dementia when she's anxious. And Nicholas states, over 800 teens have now participated in our research exploring their attitudes and experiences of dementia. So some very interesting thoughts there. So what does our resident psychologist Dr. Audrey Tang have to say about the mental implications of all of this? Well, here she is. So Audrey, today, as you heard, we're speaking about dementia.
Yes.
Obviously, there's so many implications concerning this, to do with the person themselves going through dementia, and also the carers. Can you tell us a bit more?
Yes. Well, the first thing to know is dementia is an umbrella term for a series of symptoms which are indicative of brain degeneration. Mm-hmm. And this includes symptoms such as memory loss, being unable to do very familiar tasks. Sometimes it can affect your mood. Mm-hmm. It can remove the ability to empathise with people, show compassion, change emotions, and so it can be very difficult. And people do often confuse what dementia is with what Alzheimer's is, but the whole thing is dementia is the umbrella name. Yeah. Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia because that is the degenerative form. Mm-hmm. However, the symptoms of dementia can be caused by other things, such as even drugs or alcohol misuse, Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, a lot of other things can cause it. So it does mean that if you're going for a diagnosis for memory loss, fatigue, being unable to be coherent when you're speaking, all of those behaviours, it doesn't necessarily mean it's due to Alzheimer's. So it's actually quite important that sometimes the GP will refer you to a dementia specialist. They might take blood tests just to be able to rule out all the other things. Purely because actually the other things, there's different forms of treatment that can happen, so it's important to get it right. Okay, and how does it affect, first of all, the individual? It becomes quite difficult for the individual to take care of everyday tasks, and if it is due to brain function degeneration, it will progress over time. It will mean that they do forget things a lot more easily. They are less able to be compassionate. They may forget faces. They may get stressed very easily. Their language may change. They may find themselves swearing or saying things without that filter. And that in itself can be difficult, but then it can lead to a little bit more isolation because, of course, the family might start thinking, well, I don't know whether they can be around my children anymore. And it's actually really important to try and keep them included. Mm-hmm. Also, it can affect you because if you can't manage your personal affairs, then there's a lot of financial things that have to be taken care of, legal matters, your house, all of those elements. It may have to be handed over to someone that you can trust to be able to do what you would wish with those particular items, and that can be very frightening for the person, as well as the loss of control. often dementia does tend to affect people 65 and above. However, it is worthwhile mentioning that there can be something called working age dementia or young onset dementia, which can affect people between the ages of 25 and 65.
Wow.
It's not as common, but it does happen. And either way, it is incredibly frightening. And as you're getting older, certainly you're already frightened of losing your independence, becoming more dependent on other people. And that can have huge psychological implications too. One of the hardest things is getting the person to be able to, well, remember to take care of themselves personally as well. Someone with dementia may just forget to eat. Yeah. That can lead to malnutrition. They might leave the gas on. So personal care issues become incredibly important too.
Okay, and how about the carers? Obviously, because family members must find this really difficult. What can they do?
It's very hard, purely because what will happen is you as the family member, you know who they are. You know it's your mum or your dad, your grandparent. But that person may stop remembering who you are. They may start becoming frightened when you enter the room because they think you're a stranger. Okay. They may start treating you quite badly in terms of being maybe rude to you or something like that, because they don't really appreciate what they're doing. And that in itself can be very hurtful, especially when you're looking after them and you're expending a lot of energy. It can be very exhausting. So it's so important to take respite care as well. Okay. Allow someone else to look after that person for a while, just so you can rejuvenate, you can become mentally fitter again, and then remember that you can go back and care. And not feel
guilty to do that either.
Absolutely not. It is important. Whenever you're a carer, whoever you're caring for, and whatever the issue is, it is important to get that time for yourself as well. And that's not a selfish thing. Definitely. It makes your caring better, in fact.
Exactly. Audrey, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And we shall see you again next week for another topic. Thank you. Well, everyone, here to perk up our spirits with some feel-good and inspirational news is Helena Chard. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thank you, as always, Chrissy.
Lovely to have you back on. And let's tell our viewers about this lovely cake. So this one this week comes from Cake London, and it's a beautiful praline and buttercream chocolate cake. And my goodness, isn't it beautiful?
It's beautiful. I don't know if you can see the gold on it.
I know.
Beautiful. And praline.
Yes.
Oh, yummy.
Well, we are going to cut into it just after Helena finishes her news. So let's hear what you have first.
Okay. So, beginning with Vicky McClure, really, really pleased that she is teaching people sort of how to understand dementia. Yes. And she's committed to campaigning about dementia, which is really, really good. So, who is Vicky McClure? She's a BAFTA-winning actress. In fact, she's incredibly good. She's really, really good. And she won a BAFTA for This Is England, and she's been in some amazing, amazing programmes. So she's really quite high profile. And as we always say, it's always good for celebrities to use their platform to do good. Yes, and she's certainly someone who does that. 7 years ago, she opened a small little event called Memory Walk in Nottingham. And she didn't know very much about dementia at the time, but then a year later her grandma got dementia, and over a 3-year period it really impacted on her hugely. And from then she decided that she was going to use her personal experience, her working experience, you know, to really campaign. And she does lots of memory walks which raises millions. And she also appears in dementia-friendly productions, and there was something called Touched at Nottingham Playhouse, which is actually really good because it's they have lots of different productions, but they turn the lights up. There's not so much noise. Yeah, all right. And apparently they do wander around, people with dementia, but everyone in the cast knows. But it's just a really nice, inclusive event. Yeah, that's really good. So rather than feeling alienated, they really enjoy
not going anywhere and doing anything.
Yeah, so I think that's really good. And as I said, she obviously is using her platform. She's using storytelling, which is one of my favourite things, and she wants to tell it realistically, but with a lot of love. Okay, which is lovely, isn't it? And moving on to Sainsbury's, they are introducing dementia-friendly lavatories, which is a national first. I know, it's something really basic, and I can't believe it's not been done. It's to do with signage. And so all of its stores are going to have colourful way out signs. in the toilet. So something so small, why has that not been done? Yeah. Anyway, it's a positive.
No, actually, to be honest, some toilets are really confusing. Like you don't actually see. There's so many different doors, and you don't know which one to go out with. So imagine
you don't have. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
And it's a personal victory for Angela Clayton, who's now 77, but she spent years and years having to enter men's lavatories to go and get her husband, who's now no longer with her. Yeah. And it wasn't a very nice experience for her just to walk into men's lavatories, understandably. Course, So she campaigned for a long time, and she released like a paper saying how hard it was for people with dementia. So now they're doing it, and it's a first, and they're rolling it out.
But see, something like that benefits everyone, I think.
It does.
As well, even like when sometimes like sort of youngsters go to the loo.
Mind the step, or even weigh in and things like that. Anyway, that's nice. Something. There's, I don't know whether you saw it, a recent documentary by Alan Shearer, and it was called Dementia, Football and Me, which was really quite insightful. It was actually fabulous. And he feels that there's been little to tackle the situation with football and heading footballs. Because apparently there's been lots of research into the fact, because people know about boxing and head injuries and things like that, but with football it's not really looked at. But a lot of his friends from the England team years ago, Jeff Astle, in fact, has died, Noddy Styles, they've developed dementia. So there's a huge, great big, they're really looking into it, which is fabulous. Wow. He was worried about himself, but he's doing it for obviously children of today, because if you think brains aren't properly formed, and if children are headering balls from a very young age and it does damage.
Imagine, what do you think they'll do though if there is a link, or just stop having headers in it?
Well, they'll have to stop. I suppose it's an age thing. At least you can say you can't do headers until you're 16, or I don't know. Yeah. There's something, but I'd imagine there'd be lots of suing and things, I don't know, but it has to be done. You can't just ignore it.
It's true.
So the Football Association has to stand up. But the very lovely thing that came out of watching it is that it's an association, it's a charitable organisation called Sporting Memories Network, so it's Sporting Memories, and it's a social enterprise to raise awareness for dementia, and it's grouped. There's over 100, I think, in the UK, and it's not just for people with dementia, it's for the elderly who are lonely or depressed, and they go and they talk about sports and they all join in. Again, it's an inclusive event, and they learn things as well, and it's a really lovely thing. So people are encouraged to share their favourite sports, which is really good, which is lovely. And there's another little story, but I can go into it. Dementia sufferers trial a new Internet of Things, it's called. And a man with Alzheimer's, John Edwards, who's a former training pilot, he has mild to moderate dementia, so I think possibly this would only work with mild to moderate. And his wife, Marion, they test new technology, and it's supported them by connecting him remotely. So there's like people, they use a variety of devices on his body and around the house, which enables her to sometimes go out. She's really excited because she can go to choir practice, something as simple as that. And he's very excited because he feels really lucky, as though he's got 24-hour doctor care.
That makes sense.
So does that make sense? Which I thought was really
it's quite
inspiring.
Clever. That's really nice.
And that's the end of my news.
Thank you, Helena. Yes, so once again, thank you to Cake to London for this lovely cake. We're going to cut into it in just a moment. But Helena, what do you think of it? It's so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Isn't it? I love the little detail on the top.
I love the colouring. I love chocolate.
Yeah, and look at the gold leaves.
The gold leaf.
Yeah, really nice
on
top. Shall we cut into it now?
I think we should.
All right, so let's try.
I think we should.
Let's just turn it this way.
Yay!
Okay, so like
great.
Lovely. Oh, it's so deep. Wow, look at that, it's still going. The knife is still going.
With my little plate ready.
I think, okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is, wow.
You've got good muscles.
It's amazing. Okay, let's try again. Let's go to the other side now.
Yeah.
It smells divine.
I can't wait. It's got praline in it.
Okay, I'm trying my best, people.
Thank you so much. Gosh, that looks so rich and yummy. Oh, look at that.
That is beautiful. Okay, you go, Helena. You get the first slice. Doesn't even fit in the plate.
Oh, where's my round
There you
bell?
go. Oh, you can nick one off the top. I'm picking this one. All right, everybody, look, we've even got these.
Yeah, lovely, aren't they? Mm.
Well, everyone, don't go away, because after the break, world-renowned expert Dr. June Andrews gives us the latest in dementia research, and we watch a video by Missy Mcanulty performing her song Power of the Mind. But first, which area of the UK has the highest percentage of people with dementia? Is it A, North Norfolk, B, Tower Hamlets, or C, East Staffordshire? You're going to find out after this break. Helena, what do you think of the cake?
Yummy.
Is it yummy? Do you love it? Okay. So I'm going to try this. Yeah, really good.
That's good.
So I'm going to try this in just a moment. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your program for all things mental health and well-being. So before the break, we asked you which area of the UK has the highest percentage of people with dementia. Is it A, North Norfolk, B, Tower Hamlets, or C, East Staffordshire? The answer, North Norfolk. According to Alzheimer's Research UK, 2.2% of the population of North Norfolk has some form of dementia, making it 5 times more prevalent than in the lowest percentage per population, Tower Hamlets. Now, here to tell us the latest research and information is dementia expert Dr. June Andrews.
Dementia is the word that is given to a range of symptoms which are caused by a number of diseases. The commonest disease is Alzheimer's disease, but it can also be caused by vascular disease and some other particular conditions. The vascular disease is one where the person can stay the same for a long period of time and then have a sudden change. It might be that they can stay stable for a couple of years. In Alzheimer's disease, the person goes downhill over a longer period of time. But what is it that's actually happening when they're getting unwell? Well, people quite often first notice that they're having problems in coping with life in a way that they used to be able to. So people might not be able to manage money so well. They might get lost in familiar environments. You might find that those people are having difficulty finding their words and expressing themselves, and sometimes repeating themselves. There are some common things that you see in most dementias, but everybody who has dementia is quite different. And of course, over time, as the person becomes more disabled by this cognitive impairment, they get so that they need to be looked after by someone else. And needing care, quite often people with dementia can stay at home for a very long time, but sometimes eventually the person will have to be looked after in a care home, if not in their own home. And that's something that all of us should think about at some point if we're concerned about a relative. How do we make sure that they're going to be in the place where they need to be in order to be looked after properly? And you hope that that's at home for as long as possible. And there's a lot that you can do in order to maximise your capacity to stay at home. The main thing that really helps is information, and so finding out as much as possible about dementia is the best way of making sure that you're able to delay some of the symptoms for as long as you possibly can and live as well as possible for as long as possible, even if you have dementia. It really depends on when a diagnosis is made and also what's causing the dementia. There are some sorts of dementia, for example vascular dementia, where the person can have a dip and lose some of their capacity, but then stay on the same level for years. Other kinds of dementia, for example Alzheimer's dementia, you expect the person to go downhill slowly over a period of time. But I've seen people with a very aggressive form of dementia where the end comes very quickly, and other people who've lived quite well and quite happily for a long number of years. So it's really very hard to say, for example, what a life expectancy would be with dementia. A lot of it depends on how well you look after yourself. If you keep exercising, keep eating and drinking the right things, keep socialising, then the person can live well for longer. Well, we do know, because the population of the world is ageing, that the number of people affected will continue to increase. And at the moment it's increasing fastest in countries, developing countries, where people are living longer, because it is something that mainly affects older people. And of course, in spite of all the research that is taking place to find a cure, there are lots of people who will live and die with dementia before that cure is found. So the most interesting thing is, how can we get the information out there to tell people what they can do to help themselves live as well as possible for as long as possible? For example, there are simple changes that you can make in your own house that will help you to do well with dementia. That includes simple things like increasing the light level. Lots of ideas about how you can do that. There are important things in terms of exercise. For a person with dementia, exercise is really important. It doesn't have to be violent, but exercise improves your mood, it improves your blood supply, and as you know, oxygen is the fuel of your brain, so anything that increases and improves your circulation is going to be good for your head. They say in Australia, what is good for your head is good for your heart, so anything you're doing to keep good physical health is going to help in dementia. People need to be careful about some of the magic cures or magic things that they read about in the papers. There isn't a magic drink that's going to make it better, and there's no one thing that makes a huge difference. The future for people with dementia is that you're going to have to do as much as you can to keep yourself as well as possible, so finding that kind of information is really important. In addition, you need to think about your financial future. All of us should have given someone power of attorney so that if we get ill with dementia, there'll be someone who can look after their affairs, and let them know what you want to have happen. And also think, if you ever needed to have care, how that was going to be paid for, because increasingly the amount of money that is provided by the state for this kind of care is becoming not enough for the kind of care that you would want to have.
Thanks very much to June there. Now, regardless of age or condition, mental health is important to everyone. And here's singer Missy Mcanulty performing her song Power of the Mind, which was produced in part with Helpline's charity Young Minds to help raise awareness of mental health in young people.
When power of the mind is upon you, the fear of the mind trap hits you like torture. Sick in the stomach, I don't wanna lose this feeling of knowing how to breathe. Anxiety is nearing. Why does it let me down? Why do I let me down? Thinking in questions, no answers. I thought we ran around. I'm sick of the spiral, it sunk me to the ground. I'm my own worst enemy, my road's not failure bound. And you're waiting for the day to free your mind from the hurt inside so you can feel the fight. Will someone help me find the remedy to free my mind from the hurt inside so I can feel the fight. Power of the mind is upon you, into the mind trap feels like torture. Loss of control starts to cave in, sensing a pain that is under my skin.
Got my coffee cup filled to the brim with anxiety, dietary requirements of modern day society. Just need some time to find out what's inside of me, silently and privately, idly and mindfully. Respiration, my body needs restoration. Repairs from the ravages of reckless recreation. Broken education, greed is our disease. Played by the rat race, only sleep when you're deceased. Always feeling so fatigued.
And you're waiting for the day to free your mind from the hurt inside so you can feel the fight.
Dreams, no esteem.
Will someone help me find the remedy to free my mind from the hurt inside so I can feel the fight.
Come on, what's going on? Come on! Keep it going, why are you slowing down? Come on! What's going on? You tired already? Come on, let's go! Come on! Keep it moving! Focus, man. Focus. Come on, get back out there.
Help me find the remedy to free my mind, free my mind, free my mind. Help me find the remedy to free my
thank you very much for that video. Now don't go away, because after the break, our resident nutritionist Severine Menem cooks up something for us that's great for brain health and also answers your questions, including this one. Is unfiltered water really that bad for you? Let's see what she has to say after this break. I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, the TV program that loves to look after your mental health and well-being. So now with us is the lovely nutritionist Severine Menem, who's here to tell us about which foods are great for protecting our brain from a variety of different diseases and problems. Hello, Severine.
Hi, Chrissy. Good evening.
Lovely to have you back on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So there are, of course, lots of foods that help us to maintain good brain health, aren't there?
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about a few of them?
Yes. There are mushrooms that have been done in the Eastern world for a very long time. Yeah. But in the last decades, we realized that having the good fats are really, really important for our health.
Okay.
Brain health.
Okay, like what?
Omega-3, the oily fish, for example.
Okay. Avocados are quite good for that.
Yes, they are good. They're part of the good fats.
Okay. So what are you going to be putting together for us today?
Today we are going to prepare some guacamole.
Okay. Should we take it away then?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So we need ripe avocados, 2 ripe avocados. I've got a special spoon that I really love because it's really easy to.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Just get the skin out, the flesh out. And what's very important about avocados is to get all the flesh from underneath the skin. That's where it's supposed to be the most nutritious.
Oh, okay. So make sure you give it a good scrape then.
Yes. I know.
Oh, there's more in that. I'll take that later.
Yes, but we'll...
It's one of my faves, guys, that's why.
We'll try to make it quick, because otherwise we can spend forever. So you
would use 2 for this then?
Yes. I know it's really hard to find some good avocados that are not black. But usually there is a trick.
Is there? Tell us a trick.
Yes. Oh.
This one's good.
Yeah, this one is good. Okay, I'm going to remove flesh and then let you know. So here,
it's so annoying when you buy a load of avocados and then you just...
Here at the top, usually, you know, you've got a little... What is it called?
I don't know, where the thingy goes.
Yeah,
exactly. That little whole thing there.
Yeah, right. So there is something, and when you remove it, it's supposed to be exactly that color.
Oh, okay.
And
like
if it's darker, then we'll get some brownish stuff inside.
Okay.
So
thanks for that.
Well,
it's going to change my life with avocados.
I hope so, because I'm trying that all the time and it doesn't always work. Oh. But so far, that's the best tip I found.
Okay.
So yeah, do that, and I use the same spoon. It works as a fork really, but these avocados are not that ripe, so it's going to be a bit harder than usual. I know some people, they like to use a food processor to make it like a puree. I like it to be a bit chunky, that's why I use a spoon or this special fork.
And what would you normally serve guacamole with?
Oh, I like to serve it with vegetable sticks. That's a great opportunity to have lots of vegetables, so carrots, cucumbers, celery. You know, you can do it very healthy with vegetable instead of having some corn chips or I don't know, you know, the typical Mexican thing. Yeah. Which is also delicious, but it's not as nutritious.
No, definitely not.
So, and what I like with this recipe is you can add even more vegetable, like we're going to do tonight. So I've prepared already a tomato in small pieces. I think the smaller the pieces, the easier it is to look nice and doesn't taste anything. Some
just sliding around.
Just sliding. Some red onion. Really good, very good antibacterial, and unfortunately a lot of people are not digesting raw onions, so you have to be careful with that. And some coriander or flat parsley for the flavor. Again, some people, they don't digest that, so you have to be careful. But once you know you're fine with this food, just use as much as you want. So I'm just I'm going to mix everything. Look,
Smells lovely.
smells amazing, and we haven't even added the seasoning, but it looks great, colorful.
Let's show our camera that.
Yes.
Let's have a look. That looks really good.
And then you just season with salt and pepper, as you like, and some lime juice. Wow.
Any particular difference between the lime and the lemon in terms of nutrition, or it's just whichever you prefer?
I
the
think
taste
it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
It's more a question of taste.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, lime is a bit more exotic than lemon, but yeah, it's the same nutritional property pretty much. It's the same family.
Should we spoon it into here? It might be pretty.
Yes.
Okay.
We could do that.
You can do like in little individual pots for people, couldn't you?
Yes.
Lovely. Look at that.
Wow.
That looks amazing. Should we taste it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You first.
Lovely. That is actually divine.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe a bit
I love
more
that.
lime.
It's nice as it is.
No? Okay.
Delicious, guys. It's so healthy, so nutritious.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Severine.
You're welcome.
But we do have time to answer some viewer questions. This viewer is asking, is unfiltered water really that bad for you?
Well, I wouldn't say so. I think that alcohol, coffee, sodas are really that bad for you, but water is usually the best option.
Yeah.
Now, when we drink water, we think that, it's pure water, it's really healthy, it's like almost like it comes from the mountains. But realistically, it's not that great. Here in the UK, we're very lucky because the tap water is of very high standards. If you want some really, really good water, you would have to have a special water filter that filters all the heavy metals, all the pesticides, the nitrates, the chlorine, the bacteria, and so on.
All right. What about the bottled water then? Is that okay?
Yeah, well, it comes from the mountain, but then it's got the plastic. So if it gets hot, the plastic leaches into the water, and then you drink it, and then it's a toxin.
So make sure you keep it in a cool place then.
Yes,
if you can.
But we never know, in the transport chain where it comes from, how long it's been stored. There is no ideal unless you get the perfect and very expensive water filter.
Okay. But we should still drink water, right?
Yes, that's still the very best option.
On a positive note.
It is the best option that I say, there is nothing that beats that.
All right, okay. Next question, Severine. I've got very bad acne. What foods can I eat to help with any flare-ups?
Okay. Acne is an inflammation of the skin. So I know in terms of nutrition, you always think there is this superfood that is going to help with this condition, but sometimes it's a question of not eating the food that triggers the condition.
Okay.
So really good food for acne are the good fats, food high in vitamin A, vitamin C, zinc. But if you've got some flare-up, I would try to remove all the triggers, and usually that's all the dairy products. All the products high in sugar and processed foods, and gluten, and sometimes meat. It depends how much meat you eat. Yes.
Okay.
Some people became vegan and just completely cleared acne they had for years and years.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so many benefits to being vegan, isn't it? Sometimes.
Well, in the long term, I'm not sure, but in the short term, it can really help with a number of conditions.
Okay, wonderful. All right, and the next question: what kind of festive hot drinks would you recommend making or buying? I love hot chocolate and other naughty treats, but I'm looking for healthier alternatives.
I would recommend 2 hot drinks. The first one really boosts your immune system. It's hot water, fresh lemon juice, or you can use lime if you prefer.
Okay.
Ginger.
Yes.
Either in small pieces or grated. And the last one is honey.
Okay.
And it just does wonder. If you have a bit of a sore throat or if you want some energy, that's the best drink.
Okay.
And the second one is just to use hot water and cinnamon stick. You make it boil for 15 minutes and then you drink it by itself or with a bit of honey again.
Okay, that one's quite festive, isn't it? Because of cinnamon, definitely this time of year.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Severine, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And we shall see you again on the next show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, don't go away, because after the break, we show you how we got on at White Horse Farm, and I give you my tips on how to care for someone with dementia. But first, by 2040, the number of people living with dementia who are in need of care will A, double, B, triple, or C, quadruple. Do you think you know the answer? Find out the correct one after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where today we've been talking all about dementia. So before the break, I asked you, by 2040, the number of people living with dementia who are in need of care will A, double, B, triple, or C, quadruple? The answer is C. According to Dementia Research UK, the number is sure to rise, with 60% of people receiving their care in care homes. Now, so many people dream of being royalty, even if only for a day. But what happens if you have the chance to make two little girls' dreams come true? Well, producer Julianne went to Whitehorse Farm in Kent to see our resident psychologist Dr. Audrey Tang doing just that. Here's how they got on.
Hi guys, Julianne here. Now, you might be wondering what's going on. Well, we're actually here to do coverage on a very special event with one of our resident psychologists, Dr. Audrey Tang. Now, she's also dressed up and she's actually here to make the day of two very special girls. Now, let's go see what she's up to.
Well, what we wanted to do was we wanted to give a little princess ride to two little girls. What I do with my team sometimes is we do a little bit of confidence building and storytelling, and we do it in costume, purely because drama is one of the best ways to get people talking, working together and enjoying creativity and that sort of thing. We wanted to work with Joanne and Trishna, who I've met on the show, and reward or treat two little princesses, and we were able to do that today with Alicia and with Lucy. In Lucy's case, it's not necessarily her that is going through MS, but it's her grandparents. And with Alicia, she was recommended to us by Joanne. She is on the autistic spectrum. She's an absolutely adorable little girl, as you've seen. And again, what they wanted to do was to give her a bit of a boost, a bit of a treat, something special that she can think about and remember, and it's just a nice thing there, I think.
There are more than 100,000 people living with MS in the UK. It's an unpredictable condition which can affect the way we walk, move, see, think and feel. So we're incredibly grateful to our ambassador Trishna and to Audrey and the Chrissy B Show for making this possible so that we can treat wonderful girl Lucy, who does such an incredible job of looking after her granddad who has MS.
We do have a call for princesses, that they do like the princess carriage for the pumpkin, and we do try and help out the Autistic Society. We had a charity day earlier in the year which we raised some money for, so yeah, it's been nice to help again and bring some joy to some little girls who needed it.
My son is ASD, ADHD and PDA. And to all intents and purposes he's a normal little boy, so I'm really keen to promote awareness of the fact that not everybody is the same, and that people should be kind in any situation and not judgmental, because they don't know what's going on in people's lives.
It's just a treat for them, something to get away from their everyday lives and experiences and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, I think definitely having a bit of fun. I mean, who gets to dress up as a princess every day and ride in a carriage? It never happens. It's such a good thing for them to be able to do.
Right, so as you can tell, this place is pretty action-packed. It's kind of got everything for the whole family, really. And as we all know, there's been loads of research on how animals can really benefit our mental health. So, guys, if you're ever nearby the Kent area, Whitehorse Farm should definitely be on the map. I'll see you soon.
Thanks very much to Julianne, Audrey, Joanne and Trishna there. So now it's time for my tips on how to care for someone with dementia, and these come courtesy of caregiver.org. So the first one is to set a positive mood for interaction. So your attitude and your body language actually communicate your feelings and thoughts more strongly than your words do. So make sure you actually set a positive mood by speaking to your loved one in a pleasant and respectful manner. And they're also saying to use facial expressions and tone of voice and physical touch to help convey your message and show your feelings of affection. The second thing they mention is to get the person's attention. So it's really actually important to limit any distractions and noise. So, you know, try turning off the radio or TV, close the curtain, shut the door, move somewhere quieter. And before speaking, make sure that you have the person's attention. So address the person by name, identify yourself by name and relation, and use non-verbal cues and touch to help keep the person focused. And if they're seated, actually get down to their level to maintain that eye contact as well. The next tip that they talk about is to state your message clearly. So use simple words and sentences. So speak slowly, distinctly, and in a reassuring tone, and refrain by, you know, actually raising your voice higher or louder. So instead, pitch your voice lower. And if the person doesn't understand the first time, use the same wording to repeat your message or question. And if they still don't understand, wait a few minutes and then rephrase the question. So try using the names of people and places instead of pronouns like he, she, they, or abbreviations. Let's go to their next point, which is when the going gets tough, distract and redirect. So if your loved one actually becomes upset because it's too much for them or they get agitated, try changing the subject or the environment. So for example, ask them for help or suggest going for a walk. And it's important to connect with the person on a feeling level before you redirect. So you might say, oh, I see you're feeling a bit sad. I'm sorry you're upset. Let's go and get something to eat. So you just change things completely. Let's go to their next point, which is to maintain your sense of humor. So use humor wherever possible, but obviously not at the person's expense. So people with dementia do tend to retain their social skills and are usually really happy to laugh along with you. Well, everyone, we've reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share or you'd like to give us your comments about this episode or any of our episodes, please do email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Until next time, bye for now.